Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our Jira Service Management for ITSM webinar. We are so glad that you're able to join us today for this overview of how to manage your ITSM processes within Jira Service Management. I'm Brad Wood. I'm a consultant and Atlassian Certified Professional with Valiantys, and we are a Platinum Solutions partner with Atlassian. And today I'm going to be walking you through Jira Service Management, and we're going to highlight many of its strengths and capabilities and tools as related to those ITSM processes. This webinar does build upon our Jira Service Management Fundamentals webinar, which we held last week. If you were able to join us for that webinar, I hope you got some great fundamental knowledge of JSM. And if not, that webinar, along with this one, will be posted to our Valiantys in North America YouTube channel for those who aren't able to join, or maybe you want to watch this again at a later time. So check those out on our YouTube page. This webinar is going to be a little bit more advanced than the fundamentals webinar, and we're going to focus on the ITSM feature set within Jira Service Management. These webinars really do go hand in hand to paint that complete picture of the powerful features that are available within JSM. It is helpful to have a basic understanding and maybe some basic experience with JSM to get the most out of this webinar, but it's not a requirement, and it's not going to inhibit the learning process here this afternoon if you don't have any experience with JSM. And some of those topics that we talked through in the fundamentals webinar include what you're seeing on this slide here. So project types are different roles, so agents, customers, and administrators. We talk through the customer portal. We talk about queues, SLAs, the knowledge base, and we talk a little bit about automation, but we're going to talk about automation a lot more in this webinar. So again, check that out on our YouTube page if you have not seen that webinar. So today we're going to talk through some of the applications that can be used in Jira Service Management, and these are some of them that we'll be using in our demo today. Starting with assets, this is Jira Service Management's asset and configuration management tool. It is native to JSM, so it's not an add-on, but it's only available in JSM Cloud Premium or Enterprise plans or Jira Service Management Data Center. We'll talk about Opsgenie, which is also known as Operations, and this is our alert and incident management system. It is native with JSM Premium and a separate product for Data Center. We'll talk about automation. If you're familiar with Jira or Jira Service Management in some capacity, you are no doubt already familiar with using and maybe even configuring automation rules. This is completely out of the box. It's not a separate product. And the only difference between the tier levels of JSM is in the number of allocated rule executions per month that you get with your plan. And then lastly, Statuspage. This is a completely separate product. It's not included in any tier of JSM. It is it's an internal and external communication solution, which we'll talk about towards the end of this webinar. And Atlassian themselves actually use this to communicate status updates to products in their ecosystem. So you can check out their status pages to get an idea of how this product could be used for your organization. And so we're going to use those tools to walk through 3 demos this morning. We are going to start with service management, and we're going to talk about how assets can be used within our service management processes, and we'll look at a little bit at the configuration of that as well. We will talk about incident management, and we'll look at how JSM handles incident management, giving your service desk the tools that the team needs to respond to incidents in a timely and effective manner. And we'll talk a little bit about problem management. And then lastly, we will do a demo on change enablement or change management. And we'll look at how JSM can help manage changes within your organization, giving insight into the effects and even possible risks of enacting changes, and providing the insight you need to make informed decisions related to those changes. We'll also touch a little bit on knowledge management and enterprise service management during that section. So just real quick about us at Valiantys. We are, like I said, a Platinum Solutions partner of Atlassian. We provide a number of different services based around the Atlassian products, including solutions, consulting, licensing, and training. We also work with a full stack software development company that creates custom solutions for Jira through avenues such as app development and API integrations. We offer consulting and licensing services across the entire Atlassian suite of products for organizations of all shapes and sizes, anywhere in the world, and for all of their platforms, including cloud and data center. And at Valiantys, we have the culture and we have the mindset to make Atlassian products work for you due to our cutting edge curiosity, our commitment to value, and our customer-centric approach. We are invested in your success and engaged with your strategic goals. Lastly, before we jump into the tool, just a quick plug for our Jira Service Management Bootcamp. This is a 2-day deep dive course that we offer into the administration side of Jira Service Management. This course is designed for administrators and service desk managers. Our boot camps are focused on retention, and our courses are always interactive workshops designed to leave our users confident in their understanding and use of the tools and processes. And this boot camp goes into some of the tools that we'll cover this morning as well. So Assets, Opsgenie, and Statuspage, and they go into a lot more detail over that 2-day period. Our next one is coming up in September, and you can visit valiantys.com/events for all of those details. And there will be a link in the chat here as well, directly to our events page. So you can check out all of our different boot camps and all of our different webinars that are available, not just for Jira Service Management, but really across the entire suite of Atlassian products. All right. With that being said, let's start our first demo, and we're going to talk about service management and asset management. So who is this section for? It's for our service teams or IT teams. The common challenge that we see a lot of these teams faced with is how to easily track and manage their assets, as well as services and service requests related to those assets. So JSM is going to provide us an easy to maintain assets database that seamlessly integrates with our ticketing system. And the tools that we'll use for this demo are Jira Service Management, Assets, and Automation. All right. So let's go to Jira Service Management. We are here in the Help Center. And reminder, this is our customer-facing section of Jira Service Management, in which our users can submit requests and tickets for a wide variety of needs. We're not going to cover the Help Center in extensive detail this morning, but it is covered in detail in that Fundamentals webinar, which again, you can visit on, or you can view on our YouTube channel if you'd like to review some of those fundamental JSM topics. So here we are in the IT Service Desk portal in our Help Center. I'll go to the Computers portal group, and then I'm going to click on the Request a New Laptop request type. And then now we see this request form and all of the fields that I need to fill out in order to submit this request. And one quick note here, this contact us about field, if you accidentally clicked into the wrong portal group, you can navigate to a different one by just simply clicking into this field. So what can we help you with this next field? This allows me to choose a different request type if I've selected the wrong one by mistake, and then raise this request on behalf of. This connects directly to the reporter field in Jira Service Management, and your customers may have a situation where they need to submit a request for someone else on their team or in the organization, and this field would allow me to do so. But today I'm just going to leave myself here. Reason for requesting: this is a custom field that we've configured with 3 different options, and I will just say my current equipment is damaged. Any additional details: this is a paragraph style field, and I'll just say I dropped my laptop and it broke. Then lastly, we see which model would you like. This appears to be just a normal drop-down field, but it's actually an assets object field and is integrated directly with our assets management system. And we can tell this by when I click into this field, we see our options look a little bit different. We see some icons for the different laptops that are available in here. And when I select one of these, I am actually selecting a specific object that is built out in our assets database. And we will look a little bit in a few minutes here about how these objects are created and configured within the assets database. So I have this ticket filled out. I'll just click send. And then here's the customer-facing view of what I've just submitted. And a reminder, customers do not need licenses to be able to submit requests via the portal. Our customers are always free in Jira Service Management. We do see some other information here waiting for approval. One approval is needed, and we see the status is waiting for approval. And this is leveraging automation to automatically set an approver when this request was submitted. And we can look at who that approver is and how this is working by heading into the backend or the agent-facing side of JSM. I can just click the issue key link up here to go into the backend. This link is not active for your customers, but since I'm an agent and an admin, I do have the ability to do this. So let's click into the ticket. And we'll look at some of the things on this ticket that are unique to this request because of this assets object field. We won't go through the entire ticket and all the fields that are displayed. Again, we covered that in that fundamentals webinar last week. So feel free to check that out on YouTube. But let's look at this laptop models field. This, like I mentioned, is an assets object field. And so when we click this drop down show details, as an agent, I'm able to see a lot more information related to this specific object. We can see that this object's name is MacBook Pro 16-inch. We can see we have a vendor configured, and then some of the different description fields here. The screen size 16-inch, the CPU, how much RAM does it have, how much storage does it have, and we also see a status field. This status has automatically been updated on this object via automation, providing visibility into the state of this specific laptop. This will also be reflected in the assets database itself, letting everyone know that this laptop has been offered to an employee, in this case me, and therefore should not be offered or assigned to anyone else. The asset itself will also display a direct link to this ticket, so ITSD-730, which provides even greater visibility and connectivity between our assets database and the service requests themselves. And this also means that there is one less MacBook Pro 16-inch object in the in-stock status in our assets database. So some cool connectivity there between assets and our service desk project and the ticket that I created via automation. Over in the details section, we see this field, affected equipment. And if we expand this field, we can see some information on my current laptop, which is the one that I damaged and needs to be replaced. So some of the same information is displayed here, like the name, the model. We can also see that the status of this object has been changed to damaged. And that's because, again, via automation, when I submitted this ticket, I selected current equipment is damaged for the reason that I submitted the ticket. And automation automatically updated the status on my current assigned laptop to damaged. And again, just providing that quick and easy access for the agent who's working this ticket to gather all of the information they need on my now damaged laptop. And we're also saving some time by automatically updating that status. Here, we talked about approvers briefly out on the portal. We see that Vicky Murphy was set as the person in the approvers field here. and we are waiting on her to approve this ticket. This was also automatically set via assets and automation. Our employees are built out as objects in the assets section of JSM, and each employee is linked to a department via what JSM refers to as references. And in this scenario, Vicky is my manager, and so she has been added as the approver of the new laptop request. For some more insight, references is also how JSM added my old laptop directly to this ticket, and utilizing references and automation can result in powerful efficiency gains as tickets are created and worked in Jira Service Management. And a reference is just a connection between two objects in Jira Service Management, and we will look at those right now as we head into our assets database. So I can just head up here and click assets, and we'll take a look at how some of our objects, attributes, and references are configured within the database. And assets is a really scalable and robust tool, and it can be configured in a variety of ways. So here we see all of our different object schemas, which contain different types of objects, and a schema is really just a collection of objects. So we can see we've got several different things configured here. The IT employee assets schema contains all of the object types that we have created that can be assigned to an individual employee. So I'll click into this schema, and we can see we've got several different object types here. We've got in the hardware section, laptops, monitors, phones. We've got some metadata, supported hardware, etc. If I click into the laptop section, these are the literal laptops reflected here in these objects, and I can navigate down here to this one. And this is my current laptop. So here's that status we were talking about. We can see it's in the damage status. We see some, the name of the object, the serial number, the model, how much did it cost, where is it located, and then the owner we see as me. And I'm actually an object in the assets database, which we'll look at here shortly. And that's how I am connected with this object. We can see over here in the linked objects section, we see some of those references I was talking about. So a connection between two objects. And we can see I am the owner of this laptop. So there's an outbound reference from the laptop to my object, which is intended to represent me. And there's some quick filtering options in here. You can click this filter option and whittle down the list if you're trying to find a specific object in a larger list of objects within a schema. And if we click on attributes, we can quickly see how these are configured. All of our attributes are configured on the specific object types in the attributes section, and there's several different types to choose from. We can see object type attributes, so that's connected to the employee object type, and that's how I'm set there. We can see the status attribute type, and we can see the available values here for that status field, or excuse me, attribute on the object. So a lot of flexibility there in terms of how you can configure your attributes on your objects. We're going to go back to our schema, and we're going to look at the employees schema. And we've got our internal org chart built out in here. So we can see that we have an object called employee, and then we have all of our individual employees configured as objects. We can see all the different attributes on that employee. I mentioned department earlier. I'm associated with the HR department. Here's my manager, Vicky Murphy. So when that ticket was submitted, automation looked at my object and found my manager, Vicky Murphy, and then assigned her as the approver for the ticket. On the right-hand side here, we can see an inbound reference from my laptop. So that same concept, but just an inbound reference versus an outbound reference. And we can click on this object graph and get a visual representation of everything we were just kind of talking through. So we can see the inbound reference from my laptop. We can see my outbound reference to my department, to my manager, We can see all of those same attributes over here. And when you're in this graph, you can actually click on any of these objects and see some information about that over here on the right-hand side without leaving this window. So maybe I need some more information on my laptop very quickly. I can just click on that object, and I can do the same for any of these other objects. So I can click HR, for instance, and I can see who the manager is of that department and the available attributes on that as well. So that is one way you can configure the assets database and connect it to your service management team and service desk and your service desk projects via object fields, via automation, and really create a lot of efficiencies like we saw in this demo. All right. We're going to go back to our slides briefly, and we're going to move on to incident management. So this demo is really for our IT operations teams. The challenge we see for them is how to respond quickly to incidents to get things back on track and ensure proper follow-up. The solution is going to be Jira Service Management and using that centrally managed alerting system, tracking of deployments and service relationships, incident command center, and integrated communications. And the tools, of course, will be Jira Service Management. We'll be using Opsgenie, Statuspage, and Confluence. Right. So I need to get back to our portal. So give me 1 second here. Okay. So this time we're going to go to servers and infrastructure, and we are going to report a system problem. And I'm just going to say the website is down. And once I type that in, right away we can see that some suggested articles have appeared here. These are stored in our knowledge base, which is powered by Confluence, but is included in Jira Service Management. The idea here is to promote ticket deflection, and these articles are actually linked to this request type and populating via keywords. So we can see like website and the word down are highlighted in bold here. So that's how these are actually being served up to me as the customer. And the idea is to help our customers solve their own problems and provide more insight into what they're experiencing via these related articles. So I could click into any of these articles and read the documentation and perhaps solve my own problem. In this case, these are not going to help solve my incident, so I'm going to continue with submitting my request. I'll just fill out the required fields here. And I believe that is the only required field here. We see affected services. This is another example of an assets object field. And it's a little unique in that it doesn't actually require JSM Premium to be able to use this functionality. So JSM Standard would be able to use this as well. You do need to have the incident management feature turned on in your project in order to use affected services, though. So we'll talk about how to enable those features towards the end of today's webinar. And this field is also unique in that this one is going to be a multi-select field, whereas in our previous demo, that laptop model object field was just a single select field. So I'm going to search in the affected services field, and I'm going to select website. One other unique field here is this attachment field, and you can add this to your request types for your customers to add screenshots of their errors or maybe some other related documentation that would help agents solve the outage or the incident. I won't add anything here today, but those are available if you do need them. So I'm going to submit this ticket. And this is that familiar customer-facing view here. Notice we don't see any approvals here because this is a different request type, and this one does not require any approvals. We also see a link to Statuspage here. So I know we talked about Statuspage briefly in the introduction. This is just for demo purposes here. This isn't actually reflecting anything from this incident, but you can add links directly to your Statuspage instance onto your request types, especially if there is a known outage on some system, or maybe in this case, the website. You can add this to your request types and inform your customers, hey, we know there's a problem, we are working on it, and we're going to keep you updated via Statuspage. So like I mentioned, Atlassian uses this themselves for outages in their ecosystem. So definitely check that out as a way to use that resource. So I'll click into this ticket. And we can actually look at some of the unique features of incidents in Jira Service Management. So we want to find the cause of this outage as quickly and effectively as possible in order to resolve this issue in a timely manner. We talked about that affected services field. This is it right here. Like I mentioned, it is an assets object field, so a lot of that similar functionality will be here. For example, if I expand this, we can see some information on this. We can also see a list of open incidents on this service. So these are unresolved incidents that have the website selected in the affected services field. And this can really help paint a bigger picture of this incident and what's going on with this service. It can help promote communication across our team members or possibly other teams, and ultimately help lead to a quicker resolution of the issue. And it can also provide insight that maybe there's a much larger issue at hand if there's a lot of open incidents that are related to the same service. So in this case, 21 open incidents on this service is a lot of open incidents. Maybe they're all related to the same thing. Maybe they're not. Jira Service Management will collect those for you here and make it easy for you to investigate those and figure out what's going on. We do see in this object as well, this is a tier 1 service, and this is going to play a bigger role in our change management demo coming up. We can see another section here, changes on affected services. So this is going to provide us a list of change requests that have been submitted related to this affected service, which again is the website. This is powered by including the affected services asset object field on not just our incidents, but also our change requests. And the idea here is to provide insight to any changes that might either be happening currently or maybe recently, which could help explain the cause of this incident request and all of those related incidents. Maybe a change took place on the website, which has caused it to be inaccessible, for example. So we can review those changes here and hopefully find the cause of this incident. We also have this investigate button at the top of the incident, which connects to Bitbucket, which is our CI/CD pipeline from Atlassian. And this is going to show any recent code deployments that are related to this service, again, the website. So we can see here there was this deployment, deployment number 219, a couple of days ago. It was successful. Housing all the deployments here on the issue is, again, the idea is to give us insight into what may have caused this incident. So it could have been this deployment. You can click on this deployment itself and go directly into Bitbucket and view more information on the deployment. And we'll take a look at Bitbucket here in just a few minutes. You can also hover over this and click select as potential cause, and then click add potential causes if we think this deployment may be a cause of our incident, and then it will be logged onto the ticket. And again, we'll look at Bitbucket in a little bit more detail coming up here shortly. In our activity section at the bottom, you may have noticed there's an extra button here that says Inform Stakeholders. The Stakeholders feature is part of the advanced ITSM feature set in Jira Service Management. And stakeholders can include individuals who need to be aware of an incident, but aren't necessarily going to be actively working on the ticket as an agent. And using this function will send an email to both the incident responders of the incident and anyone who has been added to the stakeholders list. And we can add those users right here in the stakeholders field. We also have the major incident toggle. Enabling this feature will add a special queue to your project. And if I toggle this switch on the incident, it will add this ticket to that queue. So if we deem that this is a major incident, we want to house those in a location that is very prominently displayed. Perhaps we want to create some automations that send emails for those incidents. Maybe they go to a different set of people to work on those incidents, etc. So you can really enhance that functionality with automation and notifications, etc. Let's say that this incident has been resolved and we're ready to close out our ticket. Well, we can add a post-incident review, and we could click add PIR here at the top of the issue, and we can fill this out. And this is pulling up a new create screen for post-incident review. We can actually see that it creates its own issue type as well. So you can use those to create your PIRs and maybe put them in a different queue, something like that for people to work on. We can look at an existing PIR here, and we'll talk a little bit about what is what is displayed here. We can see here we have the primary incident and linked issues sections. So these are the incident that this PIR is directly related to. So this incident, ITSD-507, was submitted, and then a PIR was created directly from that. And Jira Service Management has linked that ticket in these two sections. We can see some more information over here in our incident summary section about that linked about that primary incident. So when was the incident created? Has it been ended? We can see that it's still work in progress, so it is an ongoing incident. Some SLA information here, who was assigned to the incident, the priority, the responders, and that affected service, again, being the website. And you can also click on timeline on that primary incident, and you can get a comprehensive look at everything that's happened on that incident. So again, when was it created? Automation did some things on the ticket, the status was changed, the assignee was changed, and so on and so forth. So again, really the idea is that all of this information related to this incident is housed in multiple locations. Things are linked and connected, so you can really get the overall comprehensive picture of what happened, when did it happen, why did it happen, have we resolved it, and what did we learn from it? And that would be what this PIR issue type would be used for. Let's go back to our incident ticket quickly. A couple more of the advanced features. We see conference call. This would, if I click start call, it would create a conference call that is joinable throughout the lifespan of this ticket. And this is powered through Opsgenie, again, which is included in JSM Premium. Atlassian is in the process of integrating Opsgenie directly to JSM, and it will be known as Operations. You may have already seen this if you have a newer instance of Jira Service Management. And they've got some wizards and documentation to help you move from Opsgenie to Operations seamlessly if you are currently using Opsgenie. If I create this conference call, any agent will be able to join this call directly from the ticket, and you can utilize video conferencing, chat, you can add notes, add additional responders, etc., directly from that conference call. We have some opportunities for chat channels as well. We could connect Microsoft Teams or Zoom or Slack to this ticket as well if we want to create a channel dedicated to this incident. So you do have that available here. And then our responders are built out via Opsgenie, which we're going to transition to now. So let me pull up Opsgenie. And again, Opsgenie is our incident alerting and response tool that connects Jira Service Management with monitoring tools. And I'll just need to log in here shortly, or very quickly. And alerts within Opsgenie can become issues in Jira Service Management, and issues in Jira Service Management can trigger alerts in Opsgenie. So there are ways to connect the two tools as well. If we click on our Teams tab, and then I'll just select the IT Ops team. This is where we're going to be able to build out our on-call schedules, our routing rules, our escalation policies, and integrations. So this is really the way to configure all of these powerful tools in Opsgenie. If I click integrations, for instance, Opsgenie is really only as powerful as the integrations that have been configured. All of the major services are available to create integrations into Opsgenie. So if I just click Add Integration, for instance, we can see at the top all of our different Atlassian products. I could choose Jira Service Management if I want to connect a specific project in Jira Service Management to a team in Opsgenie, so we can get alerts if maybe a P2 incident is created or an incident on a tier 1 service, something like that. We can create that integration here. We can see Slack is available, Zoom, API is available for anything that's not listed here, but there are dozens and dozens to choose from here. So definitely a lot of powerful integration features here in Opsgenie, and you can connect to all of those services that you need to get to receive alerts on in a timely manner. Lastly, we have heartbeats. This is a way that we can ping a service at a specific interval, and we can create alerts if a ping is not received back in a certain amount of time. So we can see we've got a couple heartbeats configured for Nagios here, and you can ping that service again at a specific amount of time. And if you don't get that ping back in X amount of time, create an alert for your team that lets the team know that maybe something's going on with that service and that needs to be investigated. You can configure your team members here in Opsgenie. So, and you do have roles similar to project roles in Jira or Jira Service Management. So we can see we've got several members configured here and their roles. And then you can configure those roles. You can add custom team roles in the roles section. So again, Opsgenie is that alert and incident managing tool. We can see how to connect it to Jira Service Management via integrations, and can really be a great tool for you to monitor your services and resolve incidents much quicker than without the tool. So that is going to do it for our incident management section. We are going to move on to change management or change enablement. And this is really targeted towards change managers and also software developers, which we'll see how to connect those two teams via Atlassian tools here shortly. The challenge we see is how to manage risk, coordinate our changes, and ease bureaucratic effort. The solution, again, will be automation, so automated risk assessment, ticket creation, and resolution. And our tools will once again be Jira Service Management, Bitbucket, and automation. All right, so let's go to, we're actually going to start this demo in Jira Software. So I'm going to start by creating a ticket in Jira Software, and I am going to call this, if I can spell system correctly, I'm just going to create a simple ticket for our software development team that we need to add the euro to the payroll system. So I'll just click create, and then I will grab our ticket. So if I'm a developer who's received this ticket and we need to add the euro to the payroll system, well, I can do that over in Bitbucket. So I'm going to go to Bitbucket and we'll look at our different repositories. And again, this is our CI/CD solution from Atlassian. We have 3 different repositories set up here. I'll click into our payroll repository and I'm going to choose this file and we'll edit this file. And this is just for demo purposes. I'm just going to edit this file, but in the real world, our developers would actually be going into the payroll system and adding that euro as an option. So I will just make a quick change to this code. And then I will click commit. And then in my commit message, I'm actually going to include the issue key from the ticket that this is related to. So it's SSP-125. So I'm going to say updated per SSP-125, and I will click commit. And now we can see this is the commit, this is the change that has been made. And if I go to our pipeline section, we can see that this is in progress, and we'll give this just a minute or two to fully execute. And while we're waiting on that, we should have some time before the top of the hour to answer some questions. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to put those in the Q&A section, and and we'll answer those as time allows. And we can see here in the pipeline all of our other recently executed commits, the duration that they took, and when they were started. And now we can see the status on that commit has changed to successful. So let's go back to our software ticket, and we're just going to give this a quick refresh. All right. So in the development field, we can see that there's one commit now. This is that commit that I made over in Bitbucket. So you can easily navigate to that commit directly from the software ticket. We can see that there's one release here now that was successful. It was updated 1 minute ago. So that information is automatically linked to the ticket, and that's because I included that issue key in the commit message. We can also see there's now a linked issue in the linked issues section. This issue was created automatically when the code was deployed as a change request ticket in Jira Service Management. And we can see that was already completed as well. And so I'll just open that up in a new tab very quickly. So automation automatically created this change ticket and linked it to the software development ticket. And we can see that it's already in the completed status. So once the commit was, or the deployment was executed, this ticket was automatically transitioned to completed. It may seem odd that a change ticket was created and completed without going through any kind of approval stage. But in this case, it's because this change was related to the payroll system, and in our affected services field here, we can see that this is a tier 3 service. And we've set this up to where approval is not needed for changes on tier 3 services. And this can help create efficiencies by automating several processes and steps to deploy this particular change without having to go through the approval process. And once this change was deployed, like I said, the JSM change request ticket was automatically created, transitioned to completed, and linked to the original software ticket. And all of that information, relevant information, is included on the JSM ticket as well. So a lot of connectivity there between all of our different tools. Let's look at a second example of this, and we will create another software ticket. And we'll say mobile app update. And we will create this ticket. And we'll just open that up very quickly. Now we'll go back to Bitbucket. We'll go back to our repositories. And we'll select the mobile app because that's what this change is related to. So we need to make this update to the mobile app. So again, we'll just click into this file. We will click Edit. And then we'll just make a quick edit here. And we will click Commit. And then we'll say updated per, I believe it was 126 was the key. So we'll add that issue key here again so we can trigger our automations. And we'll click Commit. We can see the change here, and we'll go to Pipelines. And we'll give this just a second to run. Okay, so now we can see that this deployment is in a different status than earlier. It's in the halted status. So let's go back to, we'll go back to our software ticket and we'll see what's going on. I'll give this a quick refresh. And we can see, similarly to the previous example, it's linked to that commit. And we also see a linked issue here. There's another change request, but it's in a different status and it's not approved and it's not completed. So let's open up this request and we'll look at why this is behaving this way. So right away, we can see this request requires your approval. We see several people have been added to the approvers field. And if we look at our affected service, which is the mobile app, this is a tier 1 service. And we have configured in our JSM instance that tier 1 services, changes on tier 1 services require approval. So I am an approver in this scenario, so I'm just going to click approve. Once I do that, Jira Service Management will transition the ticket. It's transitioned it to awaiting implementation. And now, if I transition this to implementing, and we go back to Bitbucket, we can see that the deployment has now automatically restarted or resumed, I should say, and it will go through its deployment process and fully execute. So let's give that just a second. Now that's been successful. So if we go back to our change ticket and we see automation has moved this change to completed because the deployment has been completed. And if we go back to our software ticket, we will see that reflected here as well on the change ticket that it has indeed been completed. So that's an example of how you can connect Jira software, Jira Service Management, and Bitbucket all via automation to really enhance those change processes, speed them up for services that might not need to require approval, but certainly require approval on services that do need to changes on those services do need to be reviewed. And to connect to our Bitbucket tool as well. So a lot of great ways to connect the Atlassian tools. That's one of the really powerful features of the ITSM processes in JSM is connecting all these different products together to get our teams working together, increase efficiencies, increase visibility, connecting all of our tickets together, and having a record of changes, what changed, when did it change, who changed it, who approved it, etc. So can really enhance a lot of your processes that way through Jira Service Management. All right, we got a couple minutes here. I'm going to check the Q&A. When I create, edit asset services in a JSM project, I have more attributes than directly in assets. Yeah, attributes can be customized for sure. You might see some differences within the project than you do in the assets section itself, especially with affected services. I believe those attributes come out of the box with the projects, and you might not necessarily see those out in the assets area. They are configured within the projects themselves. So they behave a little bit differently. The process of configuring them is a little bit differently than, let's say, our employees, for instance, or those IT employee assets that we were looking at earlier. But they do function relatively similarly, that just the way that you configure them are a little bit different. But great question. If there's no other questions, I will I'll just demo a couple other things really quickly in Jira Service Management. Let's go to, let's find an open ticket. Maybe just this one will be fine. So one of the things that Atlassian has been rolling out for maybe about a year now is Atlassian Intelligence. And this is their AI solution, and it's designed to help, again, create efficiencies and help you do some processes a lot quicker. One of the ways you can utilize that is within comments on tickets. So I could comment on this and say, so maybe I'm typing a comment and maybe I don't like what I've written, or maybe I want to change the tone, something like that. I could actually highlight this comment and I can click this Atlassian Intelligence Writing Assistant here. And we've got some different options. So we can summarize this. So maybe somebody's typed a very long answer to something and I'm getting a little confused. I could highlight their comment, click Summarize Writing, and get a sort of a brief synopsis of that comment. So that can be really helpful. We can improve my writing. So maybe I'm not happy with the way I've written something, or maybe what I've written is unclear. I can use this to improve that. We can fix spelling and grammar. We could make this shorter if I've typed something that's too long-winded. But the things that are really cool here are changing the tone. So maybe I've written a comment that my tone isn't really what I want it to be. I could select, let's say, change tone to professional, for instance. And we can see that it's rewritten my comment. If I like this, I can either insert it below, I could copy it, or I can replace it altogether. So let's just replace it, and then I can click save. And then now I've used AI to help me update that comment. So that's just one of the AI features within Jira Service Management now. AI can help you create new request types as well in your project. Let's go to the request type section really quickly. And we see create using AI. So you can actually just type a prompt in here. We can type that in here and click go, and AI will do its thing, and it'll serve up, in this case, a pre-configured request type that includes some of your existing fields to help get you started. So I could use this, select this, and then click create, and create that request type. Let's try one more. So let's say I need that for my creative department. We'll click go. And then here's another request type as well. And you can actually give some feedback to Atlassian here if this is helpful or unhelpful, and help them improve their AI features. So they're always looking to improve things in the cloud cloud environments, and you can provide some feedback there as well. Can you give us a quick guide on how to enable change approvers and services for approval stage status in a workflow? So those are actually configured within the workflows themselves in Jira Service Management. I think we've got maybe just a minute here that we can look at that. Let's go to the workflows in this project. And let's see, this one, fulfillment with approvals. We'll just look very briefly at this workflow. So we can see the status here waiting for approval. If I click on this, when you have an active workflow, you can click include approval step here, and then you can edit all of the parameters around that approval step. So in this case, we're looking for one person from the Jira field approvers, and then you can tell it what to do with that ticket if it's approved or declined. So which transition in the workflow should this execute based on that approval stage. So it is configured directly in the workflows and is a really great feature of Jira Service Management to be able to configure those approvals. And of course, you could have several layers of approval for your issue types if you need them. Maybe a manager needs to approve it first, and then maybe the CFO needs to sign off on it, something like that. So you could configure multiple levels of approvals on your issues, and that is done via the workflow. Great question, by the way. All right, we are coming up on the top of the hour here. So I hope you got a lot out of this webinar this morning. There is a lot more that we could cover, and we do cover in many of our other webinars and classes. Again, that Jira Service Management Bootcamp is going to take more of a deep dive on how the tool is configured from an admin point of view. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. Check us out on our website, valiantys.com/events, if you're interested in attending that boot camp. Again, we have another one coming up in September. So hope to see you at one of those soon. And then quickly, just another plug for our YouTube channel. We post not only webinars, but videos on new features in Jira Service Management and across the entire Atlassian suite. So Jira Align, Jira Software, Confluence, etc. There's really a wealth of knowledge available on our YouTube channel. So please check that out. And if you have any questions on what we covered today or anything else Atlassian related, please feel free to reach out to me directly via LinkedIn or via email. We see those on this slide here, and they are included in the chat if you need that information. So thanks again for attending. I hope you found this webinar informative, and I hope you have a great day.